First. Carolyn, this is the LA County Sheriff's Department that is in pursuit. We're in the Compton area. News shot before the first media helicopter over this pursuit. And this is a chase that has been going on now for about 5 minutes on surface streets only. We haven't heard the driver try to get on any of the freeways, even though he's been very close to both the 710 and the 105. But you can see that it's that dark colored vehicle. And as I widen out the shot, you're going to see how many units of the LA County Sheriff's Department are in pursuit, including that airship. Now, what we don't know at this time is why the Sheriff's Department is in pursuit of that vehicle. But again, been going on now for about 5 minutes and relatively calm speeds, all things considered. At this point, it's unclear, but I do see that those back windows are down, and I believe I do see some movement. So there may, in fact, be somebody in those back seats. But again, unclear why the Sheriff's Department originally started this pursuit just a few minutes ago out of the Sentry Station. But we are now entering Willowbrook. So where we're at is just south of the 105 freeway. Whoa, wrong side of the road here. Oh, this could be very dangerous here. Oh, no, gosh, please get back on the right side. This is so incredibly dangerous. Cross traffic, and there's the Sheriff's Department close behind. Wow, that was a close one. El Segundo and Avalon here in Willowbrook. Absolutely, and that's really the most dangerous maneuver that we have seen yet. And I'll tell you, in terms of pursuit intervention tactics, I do know that the Sheriff's Department has permission to try to pit this vehicle. So that leads me to believe that the department does not think that this person is armed, because if they thought that he or she was armed, then they would not allow the department to attempt at pit maneuvers. So I am hearing, wow, I don't understand why the driver is getting on the wrong side of the road like that, but really some dangerous maneuvers here in the Willowbrook area. Absolutely, because, go ahead. Yeah, there really was no reason, which is what makes it so difficult to comprehend. Unless the reason why this person is being pursued is because they were reckless driving, then that would make a lot of sense. But at this point, unclear to us why the Sheriff's Department was in pursuit. And in fact, the Sheriff's Department usually shies away from chasing vehicles for extended periods of time. You have to, what a close call. Oh, wrong side of the road again. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. So incredibly dangerous. If you are anywhere in the Willowbrook area, again, this is coming your way. 120th Street at Parmalee. This driver really all over the place. Wrong side of the road. So many close calls. They very well could. And yeah, let me widen out the shot. Yeah, it looks like they're giving him at least a little bit of breathing room. So they're hanging back about a quarter-mile back, but they're still in the chase. Of course, that airship is overhead, so the helicopter is going to continue to call out the vehicle's location. But it looks like at this point, they're going into what's called tracking mode. Airship only, units hanging back, but they're going to stay close enough just in case the vehicle comes to a stop or is involved in some sort of collision. Then the deputies will be right there to swoop in and take whoever's in that vehicle into custody. And we often see that in pursuits. Drivers tend to return to an area that is familiar to them. So perhaps this area is familiar to this driver, and that's why he's circling, looking for a place to abandon the car and take off running. Again, we don't know what the original want was, and we also don't know how many people may be in the car. But here you go, another crazy move here, a random U-turn on El Segundo and Compton. Yeah, did slow down significantly. We are hearing possible reckless DUI may be the one. We'll work to get the official word on that, but that may be the original reason why they were chasing this individual. And in terms of reckless driving, we have seen it, so we can attest that that is definitely a reason why they would be chasing this vehicle, even if it wasn't the original reason. But we continue here in Compton. Again, wrong side of the road. Oh gosh, can he please just get back on the right side? This is so dangerous. This is a very busy area. Cars coming right at him. Oh, so dangerous. Again, Compton Avenue. Hopefully he gets on the right side of the road here as he makes this right-hand turn onto El Segundo from Wilmington. Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely see it. And in terms of going into tracking mode when it is a reckless DUI, it may not work because the person may not really be aware of whether or not he's even being chased to begin with. Yeah, I really haven't seen him fully crash into anything, fortunately, during this pursuit, but he's been running red lights, running stop signs. You've seen the dangerous maneuvers, wrong side of the road, so fortunately, all things considered, he's been pretty lucky that he hasn't crashed into anything and hurt himself or hurt anybody else in the process. Correct. Same general area of Willowbrook. When we first heard about this pursuit, it was in the Linwood area. We saw it creep into Compton, now back into Willowbrook, and currently using that middle lane, the emergency lane, to get by bicyclists literally less than a foot away from him just about a minute ago. Really a dangerous situation here. Yeah, let me widen out the shot. Yeah, he's on Alameda, making another turn here. That'll be my chance to widen out real quick and see if there's any units close behind, and there aren't. So at this point, airship only, so back in that tracking mode, in a semi-industrial area now, just on the other side of those trees. Seems to be picking up a little bit of speed. So let's see if he doesn't drive himself into a dead end, because, again, this does look like it's a pretty industrial area. Unclear if he would be familiar with this area, and he runs the risk of just running into a cul-de-sac. Yeah, it looks like he doesn't really have full control of the vehicle, which comes into play with the possibility of this being a reckless DUI. And here's a little bit of traffic. He hasn't really encountered that too much, and he's going to go right by that car. And as I push in here, I think the windows may be down, so we may be able to sneak a peek here on the driver's side of the vehicle and try to figure out if anybody else is in the car. Whoa. Yeah, some speed bumps there. Wasn't accounting for those. We're in a residential area of Linwood. Carlin at Alpine, which I should mention, this was where he was when we first heard about the pursuit, which leads me to believe that this is an area that the driver is familiar with. It's hard to tell because the windows are going up and down in the back. Absolutely, Chuck. So what we know is this person is possibly wanted for reckless DUI, and look at this, just driving on the wrong side of the road here. We're southbound on Long Beach Boulevard, just south of the 105 freeway, coming up to some cross traffic. Let's see what he does. I think he's going to try to make that right-hand turn. Nope, he's going to try to go through the intersection. Again, he doesn't have the light here, so that's really what makes it such a dangerous situation that we've witnessed time and time again. Running red lights, running stop signs, wrong side of the road. Really a dangerous situation for drivers here in the Compton area, Willowbrook, as well as Linwood. Those are the areas that he tends to favor. Hasn't jumped on the freeway yet. Just been on surface streets this whole time, but it would be actually safer if he did jump on the freeway, because at least everyone would be going in the same direction. And at this point, we're getting some new information from the Sheriff's Department. They may actually cancel this pursuit, which is why we're not seeing any units behind him. He was driving just in such a dangerous manner that they may be pulling off completely. So we'll work on confirming that, but for now we'll continue to follow him as he continues here southbound on Long Beach Boulevard in the Compton area. Correct. So they know who the vehicle is registered to based off of the license plates. They can run the information so that as long as the car is not stolen, they'll be able to find it using the DMV information. So they likely know who's behind the wheel. But wrong side of the road yet again. Wow, this is what makes it so dangerous. And I understand that the ground units are not behind, is what we're hearing. In terms of the airship, it just depends on the watch commander whether or not he allows the airship to stay overhead just for public safety reasons. So at this point, I'll refer to my pilot here in a moment when I can, just to confirm whether or not the airship is still here, because it really is based on a case-by-case scenario based off of the watch commander for this particular station.
Imagine other drivers are just totally surprised to see this car in their lane.
And because it is a dark colored vehicle too, it makes it difficult to see in the shadows like what you're seeing here. So this guy's literally coming right at people at 60 miles an hour, which is what makes it such a dangerous situation. And I just asked my pilot, Robert Rodriguez, if the LA County airship had backed off as well, and he's telling me that it also has departed the scene. So at this point, no ground units overhead, and the airship has also left, because this was just simply so dangerous that they thought it best to just let it go. He'll likely just drive home.
Pardon me, but I don't understand that, because there's a good chance this is going to end in a collision of some sort, and somebody's going to get hurt. Why would you do that? I mean, especially when this guy is so reckless. I mean, what's the advantage of pulling back? Because something's going to happen here.
Yeah, correct. It's something we hear time and time again when we listen to the pursuits on the scanners. Sometimes the watch commander will just determine the level of danger, and if they feel that it is safer just to let the guy go, then they will do it. And they likely won't do it if it's somebody who is wanted for a major crime, something like a murder. They would definitely not let that person go. But in this case, because they believe that this person is just wanted for reckless driving, they believe that it's safer just to let him be, and perhaps if he doesn't see those units behind him, he's just going to drive a little bit more carefully and won't continue to endanger the public.
Yeah, it's such a challenge because, as you mentioned, Chuck, I mean, without them behind him, how are we going to stop this reckless behavior?
Well, and from hurting somebody. I mean, obviously, this guy has a weapon, and the weapon is the car.
Yeah, absolutely. That weapon is that vehicle could be considered a weapon. And of course, he's going to continue to drive the way he has been, because we see that he just ran through that intersection and is now getting on the freeway. So something we hadn't seen before, but let's see what he does, because he may have just made that move by mistake. But
yeah, almost.
Sure, he's going to be getting on the 710 freeway. So now the CHP can come into play. They couldn't come into play before because it wasn't their jurisdiction. But now that it's on the freeway, the California Highway Patrol could take over this pursuit.
So this is like a fresh pursuit now. So another agency can take over, even the sheriffs have gone away.
Correct, yes. So if this driver continues to drive the way that we have seen and a CHP unit spots him, then the pursuit could continue with the California Highway Patrol. But if he starts to drive normally, they're just going to let it go. But at this point, continuing here southbound on the 710 freeway in Compton.
Eliana, do you see any signs of CHP officers at this point? I imagine they're, up to speed on what's going on here.
Yeah, they were advised that the pursuit was going through the area when it was on Surface Street, so they are aware of it. But at this point, as far as I can widen out my shot, at least, I do not see any units of the California Highway Patrol.
Yeah, I mean, as we see now...
Well, it doesn't look as reckless as
Right.
it was before when he was on surface streets, for sure.
Yeah, much better. And it's actually what I was hoping for, that he would get on the freeway, because at least this way he doesn't have any cross traffic, no lights, no stop signs, no pedestrians. He can't go on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
So at this point, it really is the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, and for now, the driving seems to be, traveling freeway speeds here, nothing out of the normal at this point.
Yeah, pretty normal freeway speeds, a touch on the fast side, but really so much better, all things considered. Sticking to one lane, sticking to the fast lane here, southbound side of the 710 freeway. We're in the area of the 91 freeway in Long Beach, which if he does exit onto surface streets in Long Beach, then the Long Beach Police Department could give chase. But if he continues to drive as normally as he is, there'd really be no reason for it.
Well, there he's kind of going across all the lanes.
Yeah.
But his turn signal may be on, maybe not.
Oh, now,
Yeah.
Is that an exit, or is he just on the shoulder there?
He's on the shoulder there, which is always a dangerous situation,
Yeah.
because whenever anyone pulls off because of an issue with their vehicle, a flat tire, for example, that's where you'd be. And then you have this guy just driving at full freeway speeds. It really makes for a dangerous situation. But for now, continuing here, southbound side of the 710 freeway, coming into Long Beach. And eventually the 710 is going to come to an end, so he's going to have to make some choices when it does come to an end at the port of Long Beach.
And still no sign of any CHP officers.
Copy. Yeah, still no signs of law enforcement, but look, he is in the emergency lane there, the center divider. So it's still seeing some erratic driving. It was too good to be true. He seemed to be well off when he first got on the freeway, but now is kind of all over the place.
Eliana, let me call on your expertise, having seen so many of these and having a connection with law enforcement. How do you think this one's going to end?
Ideally, if he could just get off the freeway, come to a stop, and then law enforcement could move in at that point, or simply they could let it go as long as it doesn't crash into anything between now and then. But considering that all of these maneuvers that we're seeing are pretty dangerous, I wouldn't be surprised if the California Highway Patrol just spots them directly, like where there may be a chase. A chase in the works here if the California Highway Patrol spots this vehicle driving the way he is.
Yeah. Is this an off-ramp he's on? Well, we may never know. No, we'll know.
Yes,
Here it
Eliana
comes
will be
back.
back when the
goes
signal
in and out.
returns. Yeah. And Eliana, the vehicle's exiting, or is that making a change to another freeway here?
It could be southbound lanes of another freeway.
Yeah, back with you guys here. Sorry, we had to take care of a quick housekeeping issue up here in News Chopper 4, but we are still in the Long Beach area. He was just on the southbound side of the 710 freeway, but I think he might be transitioning here to get off. So I'll know as soon as he completes the transition here if he's getting on that 405 or if it's going to drop him off onto a surface streets. But for now, we're in the area of the 405 and the 710 freeway coming over the LA River. He's right below us out your side of the helicopter, Robert. And looks like he may be getting on the 405. So, oh, wait, let's see what he does here. Yeah. Yeah, didn't want to wait behind that vehicle, so he's getting in that center divider lane. It's going to be really tight. He's going to try to squeeze past that car, but getting onto the, looks like the southbound side of the 405 freeway from the 710.
Yeah, and it does seem like this is sort of an ill-conceived plan here. He's going to have to try to, I don't think he can fit.
Yeah, he can't. This is very narrow. If you've ever made this transition from the 710 to the 405, it's literally about 2 lanes, and everyone's merging at the last minute. So it's real complicated. And as you can see, he doesn't have a lot of room to work with, but now he's off-roading.
Whoa.
Okay, so now he's off-roading, going to be standing on the freeway. Oh my gosh, landed on the southbound side of the 405 freeway. Wow, I am honestly surprised that California Highway Patrol is not behind this guy yet, considering what we've witnessed in the last few minutes.
Boy, I almost thought that was going to roll there as he hit the turf, but now driving relatively straight here on the 405 North in the Long Beach area.
And once again, the want on this individual is DUI driving.
Yeah, and reckless driving, which we've seen plenty of.
Yeah, we've witnessed a lot of reckless driving, and now we're in the Long Beach area, but still on the freeway, southbound side of the 405, and he's actually slowing down considerably. I wonder if that maneuver that we just saw on that hill did anything to the vehicle, because I do see him slowing down a lot. Of course, that car's not four-wheel drive, and what we witnessed was not really suitable for this small vehicle. But continuing here, southbound side of the 405, approaching Long Beach Airport. He's in the number 1 lane, and no units of law enforcement either behind him or above him at this point. And for all of you just joining us again, I'm Eliana Marino in News Chopper 4, along with my pilot, Robert Rodriguez, and we continue to follow this pursuit here on the southbound side of the 405. But let me just give you the backstory. This started in the sheriff's station out of Century. Reckless driving, DUI is what we've heard, and we saw some very dangerous maneuvers on surface streets before the sheriff's department decided to cancel because it was so dangerous. We then continued to follow the car, though, just because it was just such a dangerous situation. And he made his way to the 710 freeway, 710 south to the 405 south, where he's continued the reckless driving. And in terms of law enforcement behind him, there's really no one at this point. But this is the CHP's jurisdiction, so they're aware of this pursuit and can get behind the car and try to pull him over. But the sheriff's department tried it for several minutes. They couldn't do it, and the car continued on. So for now, continuing here, southbound side of the 405 freeway in the Long Beach area, pretty much using every lane. To see if perhaps they're talking about this pursuit. But for now, he continues here in the carpool lane. Unclear how many people may be in the car. It's a good time to bring it up because we actually don't know how many people may be inside of that vehicle. But of course, it's a smaller car, likely can only sit about 5 people. Darkly tinted windows, which is what makes it so difficult for me to be able to see inside and let you know if I see anybody else. But we've seen the windows in the front and the back rolling up and down, but it's unclear if it's the driver who is rolling them up and down or if it's somebody else who is in the car. But seems to not have full control of the vehicle. He is kind of squiggly at times. And you... So right now I can tell you that, of course, the CHP has been advised about this vehicle. At this point, we're not seeing any units of the California Highway Patrol really anywhere in the area. But, of course, they can make their way to the area if they get enough calls about this driver driving recklessly. Like what we're seeing here, just slowing down for no reason in the carpool lane. He's 40 miles an hour. That other poor driver right behind him having to slam on the brakes so as to not rear-end him. This is really dangerous. I mean, we're talking about the 405 freeway in the middle of the evening, the evening rush to get home, and you have this driver really all over the place here, southbound side of the 405 freeway near the Palo Verde exit. Again, this... Correct. Nobody. I am hearing that South LA CHP is trying to get in position to try to get behind the car. So CHP units have been advised. They've been told to come to the area. So it should be just a matter of minutes before we do see some ground units behind the car. At this point, though, no airship overhead. And continuing by Long Beach Airport, southbound side of the 405 freeway. Coming up to the 605 and the 405, and I can actually hear on the scanner that the law enforcement says they've been watching our coverage and they've seen how dangerous this person has been driving. So they are definitely trying to get some units behind him to try to pull him over, or at least if those lights from the CHP are going to just draw people's attention just so that they know of the danger that is coming their way, they'll do that too, even if the driver doesn't stop. But continuing here, southbound side of the 405, coming up to the 605, which is going to put us, again, we're still in Long Beach, but it'll... I'm hearing CHP saying likely intoxicated. So that confirms what we have witnessed, just the reckless driving. So again, 405 at the 605, that's going to put us in Los Alamitos, Rossmore, Seal Beach. If he continues south on the 405, that'll take us into areas like Huntington Beach, Fountain Valley, eventually Costa Mesa. But he'll have the option of getting on the 22 East instead, because that merge is coming up here in the next few minutes. Seal Beach? 405 in Seal Beach. My pilot Robert Rodriguez at the controls of News Chopper 4 doing a great job at keeping us over this pursuit, even when we didn't have a airship overhead to make it easier for us to track. So we're continuing here southbound side of the 405. He's in the carpool lane right now to continue on that southbound 405. But again, he'll have the option of getting onto the 22. But if he's going to do that, he's going to have to move all the way to the right. And at this point, there's lots of lanes between him and that far right lane. So it looks like he's going to stick here with the 405 south. But we're in the area of Seal Beach, of West Garden Grove, coming up to the merge with the 22 freeway here on the southbound side of the 405. CHP's overhead. Helicopter? Thank you. My pilot Robert telling me that the CHP helicopter just got overhead, so that's something we were waiting to have happened, and it's finally happened here. So now the CHP is going to be in pursuit. Okay, he just got out of that carpool lane, didn't want to take the carpool, but he can still do the 405 if he stays in the left lanes. If he wants the 22, he'll have to stay in the right lanes. He's kind of all over the place, so I don't know that he even knows what he wants to do. But right now, setting up to go 22. Still south 405, yeah. Yeah, that was the CHP helicopter there. So really picking up speed here, about 80 miles an hour, trying to get back in the diamond lane and the carpool lane. Here in California, carpool lane is for 2 people or more. It's a Chevy Malibu. Of course, dark in color. And once again, if you're just joining us, News Chopper 4 was the first media helicopter over this pursuit. We first heard about the chase when it was in Linwood. We followed him for some time in Linwood, Willowbrook, and Compton before the Sheriff's Department let it go because he was driving so dangerously. He then made his way onto the southbound 710 and then the transition to the 405 south, where we find ourselves now right at the merge of the 405 and 22 freeways entering Westminster. So he chose to stay on the 405. So we're at 405 South in Westminster. The 405 South, of course, the San Diego Freeway, that is going to take us into areas like Fountain Valley, Costa Mesa, Huntington Beach, and eventually Costa Mesa, where it merges with the 55 freeway. That'll put us near John Wayne. And beyond that, the 405 continues to the El Toro Y, where it comes to an end in Irvine when it merges with the 5 freeway. Coming up to Bolsa here on the southbound side of the 405. Again, a pursuit that we first heard about in Linwood. So we'll see if at any point the driver decides to U-turn and head back in a northwest direction to get back to the areas of Linwood, Willowbrook, and Compton, where this all began. And once again, thank you to everyone who is joining us. We do have the NBC4 News at 7 o'clock coming up here in the next few minutes. And of course, we'll continue to stream this pursuit on NBCLA.com, Roku TV, Apple TV, and Fire TV. You can always download our app and watch us on your smart television. This pursuit continuing here southbound side of the 405, coming up to Beach Boulevard in Huntington Beach. Whoa, going across all lanes, man. Continuing here, southbound 405. You'll notice there's a lot of construction through the area. Fortunately, no construction workers out at this time of the day. But we're continuing at slightly faster than freeway speeds, southbound 405 at Beach Boulevard. I'm hearing that there's additional units of the CHP standing by at MacArthur. So we're in the Westminster area of the California Highway Patrol. That's the gray for those of you listening on the scanner. Again, you'll notice all the construction here as we go along. Unclear how many people may be in the vehicle, but I can tell you that during the pursuit, we've seen the driver roll down the windows in both the back and the front. So it's unclear if he's doing all of that or if there are people in those other seats that are doing that. The car itself, believed to be a Chevy Malibu, of course, dark in color, and a pursuit that has been going on now for about 45 minutes. Southbound 405 at Magnolia. And thank you to everyone who is tweeting at me on my Twitter page. We, of course, thank you for your viewership. I am reading your messages and following along with the pursuit, trying to answer your questions as I see them. So now southbound 405 at Brookhurst. CHP helicopter overhead. Still no ground units though, so still no ground units behind the car. I do know that there's some nearby though, so we'll see if they get behind the vehicle once the car gets to that point. But at this point, CHP helicopter only. Of course, the CHP helicopter is based out of Fullerton Airport, so it wasn't too far of a flight for him. And now going across all lanes here, southbound side of the 405 at Brookhurst. Go ahead. Let me check. Robbie, can I get a fuel update? Can I get a fuel update? So, 40 minutes, 30? Going off-roading here a little bit. Euclid in the 405, he just got off the freeway, but he's going to get right back on. And Booth, we have about 40 minutes left of fuel, 40, till we have to be on the ground. And the pursuit is back on the freeway, back on the southbound side of the 405 after doing a little off-roading for the second time that we've witnessed during the course of this pursuit. Once again, we have the NBC4 News at 7 o'clock coming up here in literally the next couple minutes, but we'll continue to stream this pursuit on NBCLA.com, Roku TV, and Apple TV. And we're now entering Costa Mesa. So this is going to put us very close to John Wayne, and it will give the driver a few options in terms of freeways. We're going to have the 73 coming up, then the 55 as well. If he just stays on the 405, that's going to put him into the Irvine area, and eventually the 405 freeway comes to an end at the El Toro Y, where it merges with the 5 freeway, and then from there we could go all the way to the border really if he stays on that 5, but unclear how much gas this driver had to begin with. And we've been following him now for about 45 minutes, and the chase had started about 5 minutes before that. So all in all, he's invested about 50 minutes here of however much fuel he had in this Chevy Malibu, and may be now exiting yet again off of the 405 South in Costa Mesa. Okay, let's see what he does. Last time he did this, he just got right back on the freeway, but looks like it's going to be a southbound turn onto Fairview Road. So Fairview Road from the 405, headed south. So we're in Costa Mesa proper. That means Costa Mesa police could get involved. It worries me that he's behind that motorcyclist, considering the things we've seen this guy do. Oh, please get away from that rider. I'm really concerned for how close he's getting to that rider based off of what we've seen this guy do. And he seems to be trailing him. Okay, coming to a stop. This is good. Fairview Road at El Camino Drive. Give that motorcyclist a little bit of room. But now he's U-turning behind the motorcyclist. I'm so confused. Why would you do this? Wow, he seems to be chasing the motorcycle here. Good, just got away from him. So headed back north on Fairview at Baker, again, Costa Mesa area. So he's headed back in the direction of the 405. He may just try to get back on the 405. No worries, Robbie. Coming into the intersection, he has the red light. Does that matter? Absolutely not, because he keeps on running every red light he runs into. I do, Tim, thank you.
Is the driver at this point?
Colleen, it's been so dangerous the entire time, but where we're at now is Costa Mesa, surface streets just off of the 405 freeway. We're at Lauren and Baker, and he's come to a stop here, which is actually the longest that I've seen him stop in the hour that we've been chasing him, or rather following him as the police have been chasing him. But he's going to make yet another turn right under us here. This is going to be an eastbound turn onto Baker. So we're in Costa Mesa proper here, wrong side of the road here. Cars coming right at him. Oh my gosh, this is the behavior that we have seen time and time again. Oh no, please, oh gosh, I am holding my breath every time. He has had so many close calls, not only on surface streets, but also on the freeway. It is an absolute miracle that this driver hasn't crashed into anyone or anything, because during the course of this 50-minute long pursuit, the behavior that you just saw 30 seconds ago is what we've seen the entire time. Now, this was originally the Sheriff's Department that was in pursuit for reckless driving and DUI. That was the original want. And since then, the pursuit has been handed over to the CHP, but still only helicopter only, no units behind the vehicle.
Ileana, I've been listening to you on our NBCLA app as well, and the CHP was over this at one point. Whose jurisdiction is this right now?
At this point, it is Costa Mesa Police's jurisdiction, but they're not getting involved at this point because the driver still hasn't really been consistently in Costa Mesa. He keeps on getting off and on the freeway, and I think that's what he's about to do right now. It looks like he may be getting back on the southbound side of the 405 freeway, so he's just on the other side of that fence. So we'll see him come out, and there he is. So it looks like he's going to be back on southbound side of the 405 in the Costa Mesa area. So we're very close to the South Coast Plaza Mall. We're very close to John Wayne Airport as well. And in terms of the freeways that he's been on the 710 as well as the 405 and a lot of surface streets as well.
You know, he's certainly covered a lot of ground. This was in Linwood, then went to Willowbrook and Compton as well. What we saw on surface streets just a minute ago, where he was on the wrong side, he almost hit a person on a bike at one point, and it's just been weaving in and out of traffic. It's hard to figure out where he's going.
Yeah, he's been weaving in and out of traffic this whole time, and I'm just trying to catch him there on the other side of that wall, southbound side of the 405, and really lots of dangerous maneuvers. He doesn't stick to one lane when he's on the freeway. He will just use every single lane, including the emergency lane, including the center divider, so really makes for some dangerous situations here on the freeway. But when he's on surface streets, it's even worse, because then he's driving on the wrong side of the road, almost hitting bicyclists, almost hitting motorcyclists, running red lights, running stop signs, and continuing here, though, southbound side of the 405, and he's going to have to make a choice here pretty quick because he has the 55, the 73, or he can just choose to stay on the 405 freeway as he approaches John Wayne Airport.
And what we're looking at is this car in the fast lane here. It's a Chevy Malibu, correct, Ileana?
Correct. So the vehicle is described by the California Highway Patrol as a dark-colored Chevy Malibu. But what I haven't heard is how many people may be in the vehicle. I'm still waiting to hear that, but at this point, unclear. We have seen the windows rolling up and down during the pursuit in both the front and the back, but it's unclear if the driver's the one that's doing that or if there's people that are controlling those windows. Really, we won't be able to tell till the car comes to a stop because those windows are so darkly tinted that it makes it really difficult to see inside.
So he's coming up on the 73 right now. If he's in this lane, there's a pretty good indication he won't be taking the 73, correct?
Correct, yeah. This is going to force him onto the 405 South. So he'd be passing right by John Wayne Airport. He just passed Michelson, I believe, is the exit there, which is the one that will take you into John Wayne, and he's coming up to Jamboree now. So if he continues southbound here on the 405, eventually it is going to come to an end at the 5 freeway at the El Toro Y, and from there he'll be able to pick up the 5 freeway. But you'll notice our shot is a little bit further. We are being held back by John Wayne Airport. They have some aircraft that are landing, and once they land those aircraft, we'll be able to get a little bit closer. But from this long shot, you can see that he continues southbound on the 405, passing by University Drive, which is the exit for the University of California, Irvine.
Two things pretty amazing as I look at this picture. I was down in Orange County a couple of weekends ago. There is a lot of construction going on right at that interchange right there, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of traffic at this point.
Yeah, there's been a lot of construction, especially on that 405 freeway. Experiences nighttime closures practically every night. But as you said, really not too much traffic in this section. He's just off of the, he just got on the 73 actually at the 405 there. So he actually did choose to get on that 73 at MacArthur is where we see him now. So we're still pretty far away because of John Wayne. We'll try to get closer once we are given permission to, but for now continuing here on the 73, which becomes a toll road at this point, because once you pass UCI, it is a toll road, so you really won't see too much traffic.
Ileana, remind us again, what is the original want on this?
Original want that we heard from the CHP on the police scanner, so this is just scanner traffic, is that he was wanted for reckless driving and for DUI. Of course, we can't attest to the DUI part, but we can definitely tell you about the reckless driving because we have witnessed it time and time again during this pursuit. Just so many close calls, lots of dangerous driving, driving on the wrong side of the road, running red lights, driving on the right shoulder and the center divider. Right now, though, really some of the best driving we've seen.
Ileana, we've got a split screen up right now, and some of that driving from earlier that you just described, that really dangerous driving on the wrong side of the freeway. Actually, he almost looked like he was going off-roading at one point here. That's what you're seeing. That was shot just a few minutes before we went on the air as we were broadcasting live on our NBC LA app. But again, once again, he's on the 70. Is he still on the 73 freeway? I think he is still on the 7. We're having a little bit of trouble with our signal right now. But as Ileana has been telling us, this started about an hour ago. We first heard about it in Linwood. Then he went into Willowbrook and Compton. That's where you're seeing some of that dangerous driving that we saw going the wrong way on surface streets. At one point, we saw he flipped around a corner there, almost took out someone on a bicycle. He's in a Chevy Malibu. The original want that we heard on this was reckless driving, possibly a DUI. As we look at the shot on the left-hand side of your screen right near there, that's the live picture that we're getting from News Chopper 4. He's in the Chevy Malibu, and we're trying to pick that out there, but I just noticed there was a CHP patrol officer who is at one of the exits there. I don't know if he's blocking it off, and they're trying to keep him on the 73 freeway. But once again, we know that the CHP chopper is overhead. They got involved in the chase about 10 minutes before we went on the air, about 10 till 7. But he was on southbound 405, is now on the 73. And as I pointed out earlier, there's certainly a lot of construction in that area. And interestingly enough, for this time of night, there's not a lot of traffic, but he has certainly covered a lot of ground this afternoon, just the hour that we've been covering him. The original want was reckless driving, possibly DUI. He was on the 710, the 405. And once again, you're looking at some of the earlier video that we shot. What you're seeing on the right-hand side of your screen is, I believe, just as he's getting on the 405 freeway there. Do we have Ileana back at all?
Yeah, we're back with you, Colleen, if you can copy me.
Yes, I do hear you.
Okay,
so what are we
perfect.
seeing right here? Where are we at this point?
So we're now we're held back by John Wayne, is that the driver got out of the vehicle and is now running through the area. So that's why you see the CHP helicopter now flying in circles. He's trying to locate him. At this point, he doesn't see him, but last he heard was that the driver was running through a ravine. So that CHP helicopter was held back by the airport just like we were because of the planes that were coming in to land at John Wayne. So at this point, you're watching it with us as the CHP continues their efforts to locate this individual. But again, we're in Irvine, just off of Vista del Campo and Culver Drive in the city of Irvine.
Do we know if he ran into a neighborhood there? Can we pinpoint it a little bit better?
Yeah, so we're seeing CHP units here. He may have gotten back in the car is what we're hearing. So I'm going to So I'm going to go and try to get ahead of the CHP unit here.
What is this main street that we're looking at, Ileana?
So there we go, Colleen. So sure enough, we heard that the driver had gotten out. He was running in a ravine and must have decided that he was better off in the vehicle, so he got back in.
Ileana, we lost you for just a moment there. And once again, it's very hard with the signal in Orange County because of the airport there. But give us an idea of this main street he's on.
Yeah, so we're just off of Culver Drive, Colleen, which is a major street here through the area. Yes, Culver Drive, major street here through Irvine. And he's just going to run here through the intersection. We're at University Drive and Culver. And since he's back on the move, let me give you the map again so that you can follow the streets along with us if you're watching at home here and are in the Irvine area. You're going to definitely want to be aware of this pursuit that may be coming your way. Again, what happened there in that little bit that we couldn't see when we were being held back by John Wayne Airport is that this driver got off of the 73, and then from what we heard, he was running through a ravine. We don't believe he was in the car at that point, and eventually got back in the car and then continued the pursuit. So that's what we're seeing here now. Culver Drive coming up to Michelson, again, in Irvine.
Ileana, how close are the closest units to this?
You see one right there. So there you go.
There you go. Just
super close. So yeah, much closer than what we've seen before. And I'll try to confirm what unit that is because, again, we're in Irvine, so Irvine could take over. Typically, they're not big on pursuits, to be frank. In this case, because it was CHP, they would likely want CHP to just stick with it, especially since this driver has been on and off the freeway so often, and it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do yet again, getting back on the southbound side of the 405 freeway at Culver in Irvine.
So he's headed south on the 405 right now. Was there any mention of spike strips when he was on surface streets, either just recently or when we were covering him during the 6 o'clock news?
They haven't talked about spike strips at all really during the course of this pursuit, but they did talk about a pit maneuver. And of course, you, Colleen, are very knowledgeable about that. And what we were hearing was that if he was driving less than 35 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour or less, then they could attempt one, which is what leads me to believe that law enforcement doesn't think that he is armed because they wouldn't allow for them to attempt a pit if they thought that he was armed. But what you're seeing here is him driving in the emergency lane. Really no reason for it. You see how wide open the freeway is. There's no reason for him to be over there, but that's exactly where he's choosing to be because, again, this person may be under the influence.
The other thing we can sort of glean from all of this is that the want on this is not a stolen car. So they've been able to run the plates and they know more than likely who's behind the wheel here.
Correct. They've been able to run the plates. That gives you the registration information. It's all done through the DMV. That'll get them a home address, and they can send units to that person's address and just wait them out there. And it seemed like that's what the LA County Sheriff's Department was going to do when they first let it go. But unfortunately, because the driver continued driving so recklessly once he got to the highway, the CHP had no choice but to pursue because it was simply a public safety issue at that point. At least now, if other drivers can see the police cars driving by with their lights on, then at least it gives them a hint of what is coming their way, because when this guy was on his own, watch out. There was really no way to know that this guy was coming right at you.
All right, he's on the 405, headed north or south at this point?
He's headed south. Pardon the map there. It is taking a little bit to catch up.
That was a little confusing there.
But yes, pardon that, Colleen. But southbound side of the 405 freeway at Sand Canyon. And you see the CHP helicopter overhead, really keeping a good eye on this driver because he is simply all over the place. And again, there was a short amount of time when he lost it because of John Wayne, but there really should be no obstacles between here and everything south of us until we of course, get down down to Camp Pendleton. Hopefully it doesn't go that far, but for now he's heading in that direction, southbound side of the 405, and this 405 freeway is going to be coming to an end here very soon at the El Toro Y.
Do we know if there's anyone else in the car?
Unclear at this point. I've been trying to figure it out because I keep seeing the windows rolling up and down in the back, which would lead you to believe that perhaps somebody is in the back, but of course that driver...
Still weaving through traffic here, and just before we joined you, he was blowing through additional red lights, again, where there was a little more traffic here in Irvine. But once again, now the best place for this pursuit is on the 405, and that's where we find ourselves, all the way in the fast lane now, as he makes his way further south through here at extreme speeds, knowing that there is now law enforcement behind him. Again, the driving never really calmed down too much or slowed down, but now he is definitely aware of the police presence right behind him. 1, 2, 3 units right behind him, a primary, a secondary, a backup unit, and that CHP helicopter. They have now decided to engage the suspect because the driving is just too dangerous. The weaving across lanes, the blowing through red lights. He's been riding the shoulder a lot of the time, and all of it is just a recipe for disaster, even though, fortunately, we can report the traffic is relatively light. Again, we're coming up on Jamboree here, getting close to the Irvine Spectrum and close to the 5 freeway, where the 5-405 split here at the El Toro Y, Colleen.
Yeah, watching him right now on the shoulder, now really just like going right over, 4 or 5 lanes just instantly, and now swerving, but for no reason, not needing to swerve, but just finding now really, I feel like this person's going to lose control. Like they just really swerving around. And I know it's a DUI suspect, but it seems like they're driving a little more erratically than they have been.
I think what we've seen a lot of is a lot of very last-minute decisions, and just when you think, for example, maybe he's going to get off of the freeway, it's kind of a head fake, and then he swerves to kind of think, he thinks he's in the movies. He's trying to lose these CHP officers, but it's just not going to happen. Now, this is interesting. He had an opportunity to get off there at Irvine Center Drive. He decided to stay on the freeway, but he's slowing down dramatically. The speeds are no more than 40 miles per hour now, as he either looks for an opportunity to get off or perhaps is maybe running low on fuel. That's always a possibility as well, but not going too fast here, despite the fact that here he has a police officer with his lights and sirens on right behind him.
No kidding. I always wonder, I can never get into the mind of a pursuit suspect, but it seems like majority of the time they do get caught, and I don't know why somebody would want to keep going for so long. It's so dangerous, and we don't know if there's anyone else in the vehicle, do we? Because I do see that those, looks like the windows might be down now, but they just seem so dark inside that car.
Thought we had a shot of the passenger seat earlier, and it appeared empty. I can't speak to the back seat. It does appear to be some belongings in the back seat, and I see his arm now moving around. Yeah. He or she, we don't know, but does appear that he or she appears to be, it is a he. He is alone in the vehicle, now moving all the way over to the fast lane. And you're right, we can't get in his mind, we can't get in the mind of any pursuit driver, let alone the mind of somebody who is driving under the influence. It may very well be that he is enjoying this ride. It's a joyride where he's going to take his last few moments of freedom all the way to the end of the gas tank, or perhaps he has other ideas in mind. But you know, at this rate, considering we came from the Compton area, he was doing a lot of circles in that area. Came out, he was, I think, even in Long Beach at one point. Again, covered a lot of that area before deciding to get on the freeway for a long haul. So whether he has any business further south here or knows somebody or where he even resides, we don't even know where he's from, quite frankly. Although, if that's his vehicle, law enforcement probably does have an idea where he lives, and so they may be taking that into consideration in terms of their decision making. But in the meantime, the driving is what's really provoking law enforcement here. They have really debated on whether to take this over, whether to let it go. LA County Sheriff making the decision, you know what, this is not worth it. And once he left their jurisdiction rather, they definitely decided, okay, it's CHP's problem at this point. Now CHP has decisions to make, and they have their own protocols. You can see they have decided finally here in Orange County to deal with it a little bit differently than they did in LA County, because each of these CHP officers have their own bosses in control, and they are making their own decisions. So it's a very delicate dance, especially as you jump around between different jurisdictions. And down here in Orange County, lots of other smaller municipalities that could get involved if he gets off of the 5 freeway, which we are now firmly on the 5 freeway, heading down the Golden State at about 70 miles per hour. So doing about the speed limit now, all the way on the left side, as those CHP officers close in on him. And, you know, we just don't know how much gas is in that tank, but the more he spends, you know, on an open freeway like this, the better for everybody. And if he slows down like he did a little while ago, and there's enough, you know, enough clearance on the freeway, we could see one of those very unusual pit maneuvers on the freeway. We don't see them on the freeway. It's very rare, but we do see them occasionally. In fact, we've seen them a little more frequently in recent years when the opportunity presents itself. If he's going just slow enough and there really is nobody else in danger in this case, it looks like they have created a traffic break where nobody else can catch up with him. Nobody else can catch up with them because they have now formed a traffic break right behind him. That's very useful because that gives them an opportunity to execute a pit maneuver if he slows down just enough. Several lanes of freeway to play with here. We'll just have to see how they decide to handle it.
Absolutely, Chris, and we're going to stay on top of this. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Robing, I don't know, but he threw a shoe out there. We don't know why. He appears to be getting very comfortable behind the wheel here as he is once again going from the left lane, the carpool lane, now to the middle. At one point in time, went all the way over to the right, Susie. So some very odd behavior, whether that's his shoe or somebody else's in the car. Nonetheless, he threw it out the window, but we just probably need to confirm exactly what it was and slow it down. It was something, that's for sure.
Yeah, Desmond, tell us where we are now. South Orange County?
Yeah, not quite south, I would call it, but we're making our way down towards Mission Viejo, Laguna Niguel, Mission Viejo. We're a couple of miles away from where the 73 toll road ends onto the southbound 5, and then we'll be headed into southern Orange County. You just got to wonder, where is this person going? They had a lot of time where there was no law enforcement on the ground. They still had, and there was actually even a time when there was no law enforcement helicopter overhead, where you would have thought that this suspect would have probably gotten out and ditched the vehicle, you know, back in LA County, but we're just cruising along going, you know, southbound 5, or we headed to San Diego County. You have to wonder if that's what this driver is doing and how much gas is in the vehicle, if they had a full tank or not. We've covered a lot of mileage, and so that could certainly factor into this. So we haven't been driving super fast. Although actually now we are starting to see the speeds up about 85 miles an hour, but might be headed towards San Diego with only one shoe on.
Well, we do have confirmation now from CHP that it was a shoe. So, Susie, he is, whether it was his shoe or maybe it just was bothering him, but that was a shoe that was thrown out of the car. And for some reason, now that's just one shoe, we understand. We're going to show the video over and over again. Don't think that there's more than one. It's just that one shoe we're replaying over and over again. But it was a point in time when he rolled the windows down, all of them, Susie, and then threw that out and then rolled them back up.
And you just wonder why he did that. You know, is it something that's on there that he doesn't want CHP to see, or is it just to throw them off and just do random things, you know, that we've been seeing? Actually, this person hasn't exactly been acting in the right state of mind, if you will. They've been driving recklessly, as you've been seeing. They've been clipping cars and driving through red lights, and also, posing a danger to the public, obviously, and driving at high rates of speed on both surface streets and on the freeway. Where are we now, Desmond? It looks like we exited the freeway.
Yeah, westbound Crown Valley Parkway, maybe headed towards the 73. Let's see. In the middle of the median here, what they call the Gore Point, there you see CHP. Now they're kind of getting on, and then through the red light. It's the second red light now that this person has gone through. Let's see if CHP is going to attempt a pit maneuver. I'm sorry, but we're staring almost directly into the sun. So right now, as we approach sunset, this is particularly tricky with the camera now underneath some trees. Let's.
Oh.
There we go. Okay, right underneath the bridge there, really slowing down for no reason. Let's see what CHP decides to do with this. It would seem like a fantastic opportunity to do a pit maneuver. You've got 3 lanes here. You've got a nice big center divider. There's no parking on this street. It seems ideal. Maybe they have not gotten approval for that.
Well, but
maybe
don't they need more than one unit behind them?
Maybe this person is not pit certified.
I don't know if I would think that
typically that is.
Go ahead, Des.
Well,
there we go.
Here's
okay, we see a number of them because at one point in time, there was just is that a police officer on a motorcycle? I guess so. But
it is.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
so it looks like they got plenty of people that could do that pit maneuver. They typically do that, Des, as you know, with more than one unit in pursuit, so they can then follow in case here we go.
Coming in fast. There it is. Oh, spun around fishtailed. And just like that, look at that.
It looks like it worked,
Perfect.
but that person is going. Foot bail.
That's it.
Oh, he's done. Put your hands up.
Might have left the car and drive.
I think he did.
And
good move.
Lifting
Shows
up
his
there.
waistband, takes his shirt off, following the commands of the officers, but he may run still.
Wow.
Doesn't appear that he's quite yet ready to give up.
He just got out of that car, walked out of that car, and put his hands up. Like, here I am.
Do you notice his shoe? See the right foot? There
was
is no
his shoe. There's the
on the right
confirmation
foot.
there.
Yeah, so he did indeed throw that shoe out the window.
Exhausted.
So, Des, it doesn't appear that he's quite ready to give up. He still appears a little agitated. He is following commands. I'm a little concerned about what's in the waistband on the right side there. I don't know if that's a string or a rope or.
What was that?
Now
Stepped on something.
Just slammed on something there. I don't know if that was something that came off, if that was his phone or something that came off of the vehicle. But walking back right now, officers out with their weapons drawn. There is a canine unit down here as well. We heard CHP making sure that they had one of those. Here's an officer with less than lethal with the yellow weapon right there. Getting down on the ground, hands beneath, or rather behind their back, and this extremely long joyride from Compton all the way down to Mission Viejo has come to an end on Crown Valley Parkway, with the suspect being taken into custody.
Yeah, the right-hand part of your screen is going to be that pit maneuver, Susie.
Ooh.
Textbook, he gets out there. It was interesting. He pulls this shirt off really pretty quickly, which is showing that he's
his
complying.
Waistband,
He shows his
and
waistband.
then right there, takes his shirt off, doesn't he?
And then, but you know, it's interesting because earlier he had a blue shirt on. So I wonder if he was, he threw that shoe out. It appears that his pants are disheveled. I mean, you just wonder if he was in the process of disrobing during this pursuit. But at one point in time, had a blue shirt, now a white shirt. And he is minus that shoe that we think that he threw out earlier.
Yeah, it looks like the CHP officers on the left side of the screen are just making sure that the car is all clear, which it looks like it is. Just that one person inside the car, the driver, wanted for reckless driving and a DUI. Now looks like he's going into the patrol car. But boy, this has been an interesting pursuit all the way from Compton down to Orange County is where we are, and the southern portion of Orange County too. And, just the things that happened during this pursuit. He clipped cars, ran through red lights, was going very fast and made it a dangerous situation for not only the public, but also the officers who were originally pursuing this person, the LA County Sheriff's Department. So they actually backed off, and then the CHP took over after a little while. But as Desmond was talking about, Jeff, at some points, there was no one behind this person. There were ample opportunities for this person to get away somehow, without any CHP officers or LA County Sheriff's Department deputies, in pursuit. But looks like they kept on going, and here we are in Orange County and under arrest.
You see CHP officers there collecting the evidence, putting it on the hood of the car. And I think that that's got to be a phone or something that he stomped, which they went and retrieved and picked up as well. You wonder if he thinks that might be destroying evidence of who he is in doing that, because he did that right in front of the officers. See, his belt is undone as well. It just seems like he was getting ready to take off all of his clothes or disrobing during this pursuit for some reason. So. Okay, we'll continue to follow this coming up on KCAL 9 News at 8 o'clock in just about 30 minutes. That is the end, code 4, if you will. I'm Jeff Vaughn alongside Susie Saw. We'll wrap it up here and see you at KCAL 9 News at the top of the hour.
This is Eyewitness News on KDOC 56 Los Angeles with live breaking news.
Good evening. I'm Colleen Sullivan. David Ono's off tonight. This is Eyewitness News at 7:30 on KDOC 56 Los Angeles. We begin with breaking news. A dangerous pursuit underway. It's believed to be a DUI driver that's coming to a conclusion. Let's go to Air 7 HD and Chris Christie for the details. Chris?
Colleen, that dangerous DUI driver now being taken into custody after leading police, the first LA County Sheriff's Department and then CHP, on a long joyride from South LA all the way down the 405 and all the way down here to Laguna Niguel in Orange County, where CHP brought this pursuit to an end just a few moments ago. You can see we've got some video that we just shot a few moments ago as they took the opportunity. He got off the freeway, slowed down just enough for a textbook pit maneuver here on Crown Valley Parkway, spinning the vehicle out of control. The driver jumping out of the vehicle and immediately surrendering to those officers right there on the ground after a wild pursuit. He was going the wrong way at times, driving very recklessly. A lot of close calls. What could have been a catastrophic end turns out to be a very peaceful end to this dangerous pursuit. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Chris, thank you very much for that live report. Now to another smash and grab break-in. This time thieves targeting a watchmaker in the Pico Robertson neighborhood. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Haskell says members of a synagogue next door are pitching in to clean up the shop and raise money for the victim.
Hushman Talasazan's Pico Robertson antique watch shop is his entire life's passion on display. And early Sunday morning, two burglary suspects tried to destroy what he's built.
This is
Can you try me again? You're coming scrambled now. I'll tell you what, can you try texting me? I can't make it out, but I think you said we're clear. I'll wrap it up on the web. Sorry about that for everyone watching. This pursuit has come to an end.